Hello everybody, I'm Brian Pickle, and welcome back to what is a pretty gloomy, kind of rainy day here in Pickleton for part 4 of our Cities Skylines 2 Beginner's Guide. And again, I will repeat it, but this is, when I say guide, I use that term very loosely. At this point, it's a little bit more of a watch me fail so you don't have to, than it is a guide. But I am learning a lot, not just from having experimented with the game and testing things out before I go to record a new video, but also from all of the comments and suggestions that you guys are leaving down below. So I want to say thank you for that so much. It really does help me out a lot to hear all these other tips and tricks and just kind of what you guys have experienced while you're playing, because it really does help me understand the game a lot better, gives me some ideas for things that I can test out and try out in my city, and see kind of what works best, and really get down to the nitty-gritty and find the best way to build a functioning, thriving city. So, again, thank you so much for all of you who are reaching out in the comments, and just giving all kinds of feedback and giving me some tips and hints and everything about the game. It really helps the channel, and really helps me bring a lot more of this information to more and more people. So, thank you for that. And I do want to give a special shout out to JeffJets00 for talking about this icon that we're getting here with the not enough customers. And because they pointed out that they've had an issue where, like when they cluster them together, kind of how we have here, that's when they get this error the most. And I think, honestly, at this point, it's just like an issue of me playing Cities Skylines 1 and kind of doing what I would do there. Because this is not an area where there's a lot of customers. You can see the yellow area, the orange area is where the customers are at, and where we have these icons showing up, there's not a lot of customers. So that's why they're just not doing as well as they should be. I've also noticed that I particularly have trouble with chemicals, like businesses that are selling chemicals or petrochemicals. So I don't know if there's like a connection between that as well, like what it is that they're selling. But either way, we will get into trying to address that issue today. That's one of the major things that we will be tackling, is some of these icons that we're getting, and also just sort of expanding the city in a way that makes sense. Because I think I fell into my own trap that I've been telling people to avoid, with just, moving really slowly. And I got so excited with the medium density stuff, I think I got a little bit carried away. And I think realistically, at the population that we are at about 1,400 people, we wouldn't realistically have medium density stuff quite yet. Like, this would realistically be a very, very small kind of place. I think I had maybe that many people in my high school where I grew up, and I didn't even grow up in a very big place. So the fact that we have some of these high-rise buildings like over here is a little bit unrealistic for what we have going on right now. There's a lot of households in that. And then the row houses as well. I went crazy with them, and they have, 5 households compared to 4 residents. So I think I just got really caught up in the shiny new thing and wanted to place that. And so I'm going to kind of try to scale back on that. And it's going to seem a little bit counterintuitive, because one of the major focuses in today's episode is going to be growing the population. Because we really just need more people to be able to financially sustain us. Because we have a lot of services and stuff being laid out that we just can't really support financially without more people. So we are going to address that. And I think another reason why I sort of wanted to start placing things immediately, and why we've kind of gotten ourselves into this financial pickle, is that by design, the game kind of wants you to start placing certain buildings when they become unlocked. So, for example, one of the first things that we unlock in our milestones is the medical clinic. So if we look into our milestones, that was the first thing that we unlocked, and healthcare, death care, and then garbage, which we're still ignoring garbage, but we immediately started to have problems with unreliable healthcare coverage as soon as that became unlocked. So it kind of became an issue where we would have to place that, or else our citizens would become really unhappy. So we're kind of forced into placing some of these really expensive buildings down. And while that's not necessarily a problem in and of itself, when we don't have the population to sustain it, we can get ourselves into a bit of a problem there. So that's what we will be trying to address in this episode. But at the moment, there is one other problem that is kind of hindering our progress towards growing the city. And that is, if we take a look at this population panel here, we can see that we have an unemployment rate of 10.4%, which is pretty high. And part of that is just because our population is so low, so 10% is really easy to reach with such a small total number. But we don't want this. That's going to be too high, and people are just not going to want to move in because they don't have a job. So that is something that we are going to need to correct as well, because we can't grow the city and just keep zoning more residential without addressing the job situation. And we have plenty of demand for both office and industrial, so placing more jobs is not necessarily the problem. But I want to go about this a little bit differently and sort of undo a little bit of what I've done before. So I'm going to actually, I know it sounds counterintuitive to delete buildings and to lessen the population at the start, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take out all of these medium density row houses and replace them with low density housing. And that should hopefully start to, for the time being, address the issue of having unemployment. My thought process here is essentially that with less people, by dezoning a little bit, the unemployment rate will drop just a touch, and we can sort of even things out a little bit better in a different kind of way. So we can see that it's already working. We're at 5.6, 5.5% and dropping. So that did have the desired effect. And I think this will help us grow the city in a little bit more of an organic way. And so I'm just going to go ahead, go through and zone up a little bit more of this low density residential to start really filling out some of these areas. Because I'm kind of getting tired of all this empty space on this side of the map. So I'm going to throw in some residential stuff there. And as far as all of these buildings, which we're having even more of them now, with the not enough customers, I'm just going to replace them. So in here, I'm going to just replace those with low density housing. And with a little bit of that out of the way, what I want to talk about next is kind of what things I'm going to start paying attention to in this episode that will really help guide us in where we want to take the city next and how to get there. So one of the things that we need to look at is, first we're going to go into our education panel, and we can see, if we go ahead and click here, that we have a little bit of a problem with not having any well-educated and highly educated people. So that's going to create some problems with us if we start placing office, which I would like to do. And then next, if we look at building level, we can see that we have a couple in the level 3 range, mostly level 2 and 1. Office has absolutely nothing but level 1 buildings, and there are some serious perks that come with higher level buildings, such as using less electricity, producing less waste. So we want to do that. And then looking at company profitability, we can see that industrial profit is not very good, and commercial is doing okay, but the more efficient and profitable the buildings are, the more money that they have to be able to level up, and we need that. So, and then the last thing that I want to focus on is workplace availability. So, because we can't, while we have all this industrial demand, we can't just keep placing industrial stuff and solve this problem. Because while the unemployment is, part of that, one of the things is that we have all of this unbalanced education. We have all of these well-educated jobs available, but we don't have any well-educated people in the city. And no highly educated people as well. So the only people filling these jobs are coming from outside sources, or outside cities. So, which is not ideal for us. We would like those people to be living here and paying taxes here. So we want to entice those people to come to our city, to Pickleton. So placing in some education will obviously be one of the first things that we want to do. But before I get into that main build, I do want to address a little situation from last episode. I noticed when I was editing that I had the budget down to 50%, so we're going to bump that up to 100, because then we'll actually start exporting more of it. I had it so low when we weren't exporting it, because I didn't want to waste money on it. And then, I'm not really sure why I didn't do this, it just didn't really cross my mind at the time, but I want to connect this road to to the outside as well, just because it's here and we can. And that just provides another connection for outside people to come into the city. So more of those connections are always good. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And then, so I would like to move back over here to our main area. And again, with this no customers thing, I'm just going to de-zone some of these buildings to start. Once we build up the area a little bit more, then we can sort of decide where we want that commercial to go. And so for some of those other buildings that are giving us problems, I'm just going to go through and replace them with office. Because that will... Oh, look, that one went away. So, okay, we'll move on to this one then. So we'll replace this one too. Just because it gets rid of that problem for the time being and gives us time to sort of correct the issues in the city as a whole. And then kind of get us back on track. So let's take a look at our population again and see, okay, so unemployment is now at 15.2%. So we will have to address that. We do need more jobs in the city. But this stuff will all just take time. There is a method to the madness here, I promise you. So I'm actually going to knock out some of these roads and make room for our college. So to do that, we're going to have to go into our progression panel, click on our education development tree, and then for just 1 point, we will go ahead and purchase our college. Because that will get us well-educated Sims. That's what you get with a college. So we're going to go ahead and place this here first. Oh, cool. So that gets us to the next milestone of Tiny Town, which we'll talk about in a moment. What I would like to do first, though, is get off this radio, because I don't want to hear him interrupting me all the time. But with this college building, I don't really want people loading off of the front here. It's just going to create kind of like traffic issues and backup stuff that I don't really want to deal with. And then I'm actually just realizing that I didn't upgrade the end of this road all the way, so we'll fix that really fast. And then just go into our regular small roads. And I would like to sort of give this building a border and also kind of a holding road to sit it on so that we can take it off of the main road. So with our small roads, I'm just going to drag this out right to the edge of the building. And yeah, I think I'll drag it right back up to the main road there. And I'm trying to think, I would like to introduce some pedestrian roads because I haven't used them yet. So I'll replace both of these and kind of see how that works. I'm trying to think if I want at least the front road maybe to be normal. And then I'll drag out another pedestrian road from this side and sort of connect it in. And this won't give us any traffic issues because it's only pedestrians. And then I want to hook up these two roads. So what I'm going to do is use the complex curve tool and create a nice little S-curve and just connect it right back into our little residential frame over here. So I think that will do pretty nicely. The only thing that I really don't love about the pedestrian roads is that they're so wide. I wish that we had a smaller version of those, like kind of like the size of the path, but usable for roads. And with another one of these buildings popping up with this error, we're just gonna replace it with some offices. And then some more housekeeping things that I want to do. I want to move this parking lot, and I want to move this plaza. I just wasn't really in love with the placement there. So I think with the plaza, I don't know if I like it there. Why don't we move it to right in front of the school, in front of our college? I think that looks nice. It's nice and centered in there, so I think that'll do. It's a little bit on a hill, but it actually doesn't look too bad, so I think I'm okay with that for now. I don't think it's going to cause me too many issues, hopefully, fingers crossed. This is another problem that I have been encountering while testing some stuff, is the high resource cost. And while I have plans to just kind of get rid of this entire area of industry anyway and move it, I do want to know exactly what the problem is. And so I've looked into it a little bit, and some people just said that a smaller building will fix the problem. But if we look at like what we're making, we can see that we do have a deficit in that resource. So we're obviously importing it, which can be part of the problem. Because obviously if it costs a lot to import it, they're not going to make as much money. And so they're not going to be happy with that. But we do have the ability to actually place a specialized industry area to create rock and stone. So I think we will get into that today as well. But apart from those two kind of more obvious solutions, if you have any insights on that icon and kind of that issue in general, I would love to see some suggestions or whatever you know about it in the comments below. But we did unlock in the last milestone that we reached, now that I remembered we hit that, we unlocked a couple more specialized industries, which we are also going to place today. Communications and post. We're going to stay away from post because I think it's still bugged, but we will get into communications. And I will say that there are a lot of different things that we are going to get into in this episode, because if you'll recall, there were also a couple things that we still haven't gotten into from the very last milestone that we hit. So if we go ahead and check that out, we had unlocked transportation. So we still haven't even gotten to that yet, which also another plan for today's episode. So yes, I know that it's kind of a lot of things going on at once, but these things are all necessary to kind of like get the city together and really grow it in the way that makes sense. Oh, look, we've got a car accident over here. Little UPS truck, it looks like, or something. All sorted. But yeah, so it is a lot of things, but they are all necessary to get us moving. So if we go ahead and take a look at transportation, I think taxis make the most sense in a city of this size. So I think we're going to start there. And again, I don't really want it loading off of this main road, just because that'll cause people stopping and going, and it'll just create traffic in the future. So we're going to take a road and line it up kind of directly behind the building and try to get like a 90-degree angle there so that we have it nice and flat, and try to keep zonings from breaking too much. It's a little weird area, so some breaking is going to happen either way, but then we'll just go ahead and grab the building and flip it onto that smaller road. So now they'll get off on this side. It comes with a couple upgrades. One of them is the garage extension here on the side. So we will need to leave room for it if we want to expand it, but we obviously don't need it right now. Then a dispatch center and electric cars. Again, neither of which we need at the moment, so we're not going to do any of that. So what we need to do now is place the taxi stands. So this is where people will get picked up from. So I think where we're going to place our first one is kind of just right across the street here from the school. I think I'll put it on the side road. Maybe we'll see if that works better than putting it on the main road. But just to try to keep them in places where people would be likely to catch a cab. So, and then the other one we're going to go ahead and put near the university. Or sorry, the college, not the university. Different buildings. And then I just realized I moved all that stuff earlier because I wanted to bring a road in through here. So we'll fix that really fast. And I don't know why that messed up with my zoning, but it's really not like the biggest issue. What's wrong with this one? It just won't zone up, so I'll just get rid of it altogether and solve that problem. But yeah, so I'll put that road back in, and then we can place a stop along here. So somewhere, again, kind of like, well, maybe not right in front of a parking lot. Maybe it's not the best bet, but let's see. I do want it along this main road here, though, so because there's a lot going on here. So put it there, and then again, another kind of at this intersection between our arterial, and then back by the cemetery, I think is probably a good place to go. Right in front should do, I think, about here. Yeah. Okay. And then we want to go ahead and bring one over to our farm area as well, so that people can get taxis out of there and back into the main part of the city. That is a lot of taxis. Okay. But yeah, so I think that will kind of do up that issue. And then the next thing that we did, or unlocked, was some parking fees. So I'm going to put these on our two main districts, because then we will actually start making money from people parking on the main roads. Or like in these, any roads in these two districts, we'll start making a little bit of income from people parking on them. So all of these guys here, they're going to have to pay now. So hopefully that will... It's not going to do a whole lot for our budget problems, but it will at least give some increase there. And then, like I said, I want to move the industrial area, so I'm going to move it to this other side of the river. And because we have some coal over there that I want to get into, and I just want the other area to be residential. So we're going to grab our 4-lane road and bring it out across the water. And make sure our elevation step is on its lowest point. And then we're just going to kind of increase the elevation until it says that it's no longer in the water. So, right there. Okay. And then we'll just bring it back down to earth. And I did forget to flatten this area out, so I'm going to go ahead and come through here and just sort of flatten this area out so we have a nice little space to work with. And then put the road back in. So we'll go ahead, grab that 4-lane road one more time. And now we have a nice flat space to work with. Drag it out at that 180-degree angle. Again, right up till we hit the border of that map tile for now. Which we will open up, but we don't quite need it at this moment, so I'm going to leave it. Then we'll grab our regular 2-lane road and drag it out by about 112 is what I would like. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that snapping because we're snapping to something off the side there. And then over by 176 and back down by 112. And then just create a quick little grid of that. Nothing too crazy. We don't need a lot of it right this moment. So I think just those two will be fine for now. And then we're going to go into our specialized industry. And since we haven't gotten into it quite yet, we're going to go with stone mining because it doesn't need the resource. And so we're going to go ahead and start with that. Whoops, I hit the wrong button there. So let's try that again into the area here and grab the stone mining and then place our building. I think here should do. And then we'll kind of draw out the area. And I just want to fill up this entire space as much as possible. So there we go. And these specialized industries provide a lot of jobs, so that's really helpful. And another one of these buildings we're just going to replace with some offices. Now that I cleared up a couple of those issues, I want to move back to our industrial zone, and I want to actually open up this tile because I want to start getting into some more specialized industry. And this time I want to do coal mining because if we look again back at our resources, we have this whole area full of ore and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and draw out a little bit of a road here to sort of hold our main building. And then we will go ahead and grab the coal mine and we will just, to maximize the space, we'll just go ahead and place it against the road here. I just want to try to get as much area as possible. And then we will just go ahead and drag our tool out and get all of this area in all the way up to its borders. So all the way out to where we can't draw it out any further than that. And then kind of along the railway here, I think, will be, we just want to fill up this entire space. And then we have our nice big coal mine. So this will, again, provide quite a bit of jobs. It says 2 at the moment, but that's just because we just placed it. Look at our other one. It's got 49 employees. So these provide lots of jobs. So I think that's really going to help us out here. And then I want to de-zone some of this industry in this area. Like I said, I want to move it. So I'm just kind of going to switch it over to this side. Fill up these little areas here. And then I do want to kind of keep the industry off of this main 4-lane road. So I'm just going to go leave one space at the end and then fill in the rest of the area. That way people aren't loading on and off of that main road. And I'm going to try out the theory of smaller buildings to see if that helps avoid any of those high resource cost issues. So we'll try to keep some of the buildings small as the issue arises. Now what happened here? How come these didn't go away? I'll just delete them? Well, what's happening here? Did it not de-zone them or what? Let's try this again. So, okay, those look all de-zoned now. Don't really know why those kept growing back in, but we'll just delete them again. And, what? Okay, what is happening? Why is that not working? Okay, that looks like it worked now, finally, right? Okay, there we go. Okay. And, yeah, so I think that'll do for now. I'll leave those ones for the time being. It's, okay, so unemployment is still pretty high. But we're working towards it. We will solve this problem in this episode, I promise. And we're still just going to keep filling up some of this area with some residential. Just because we really do need to grow that population. So it does have to happen. And we will work on sorting out any of the problems that it creates kind of as we go. We are placing quite a lot of industry in this episode, some new offices and a lot of other larger buildings. So I think we will kind of turn this around. But now what I would like to turn our focus towards is electricity, because that is really the only way to make money at this early stage of the game. So if we go into our electricity development panel, we're going to go ahead and get our coal plant, I think. So geothermal is cheaper, but if we look at it like, we can go back and forth on it, but coal, it has $600,000 upkeep, 300 megawatt, capacity to produce, and it costs $1 million. So it's definitely not a cheap endeavor, but that is a lot of electricity to sell. And the geothermal costs an upkeep about half, and it produces about half. So, and of course, the pollution is also an issue. High pollution from the coal plant, of course, but still medium from even just the geothermal. So I'm thinking we do have some access to water over here for the geothermal plant, and it's not too far away, so we could go that route. But I think just financially, it makes a little bit more sense to go with the coal plant, even though it's higher cost up front, just because comparatively the purchase price of the geothermal is more than half of the purchase price of the coal plant. So, honestly, I think at the moment I'm going to hold off for just a little bit longer on making that decision. And instead, I'm going to head back over here to our farming area. And because we had unlocked vegetable farming at the last milestone, so this is the only other specialized industry that we have unlocked that we have yet to place. So I'm going to go ahead and place it over here. And I want to make sure that our two farms don't really overlap, just to make sure that we're getting like the most out of each of our farming buildings. It wouldn't really make sense for them to overlap too much because we'd be wasting resource, basically. But I do want to leave a little bit of space for textile farming because we will unlock that at the next milestone and we are going to need it. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in this area here. And there we have our nice little farm area. But to really kind of round this area out and make it, a little bit more realistic and also help us grow our population a little bit is to create a little bit of a neighborhood over here. Sort of like a small little farming village, not too many houses. So we're going to drag the road out to the water line and then grab our continuous road tool. And again, we're just kind of keep it loose and meander it along the waterfront here and give it just a little bit of a neighborhood vibe going on here. So we'll hook it back up into this road here. And then maybe a couple little cul-de-sac areas, I think. So if we drag out here and then grab one of our little baby roundabouts, throw that on the end there. We have a little cul-de-sac and let me see. I think that'll be fine for now. And we'll grab our small houses again. Oh, I forgot about the Pop Musician Mansion. Like, we unlocked this forever ago. And I do want to finally place it. And I think it goes really well in this area. Just because if we go ahead and we place it, right along the road here, we can take a look at it. It looks very ranchy. So I think it'll just go really well in this area, again, kind of aesthetically. It is not necessarily the most efficient use of this building because it does give some boosts of +5 within, or +2 well-being within 500 meters. So placing it near a lot of other buildings would really get the most use out of it, but I just really love how it looks against the farms here, so we're going to place it there. And it'll certainly boost the happiness of the folks that we're going to throw in this little area here. So back into our low-density European-themed zoning, we're going to go ahead and zone up some just small buildings. We're not going to fill out this whole area or anything. We're just going to keep it very simple. A couple houses scattered about. One of the things that I really, really love about Cities Skylines 2 is the ability to do this properly, where you can have buildings spaced a lot further away from each other without having to, like, set up power lines and stuff, because now that the power lines are connected to the roads, you can have them spread out. And I really like how that looks, and I like that you don't have to have those big power pylons in the way. So I'm loving that. So we're going to go ahead and let that area grow up and then move back over here and focus kind of on this mess again. And I'm going to de-zone the rest of this industrial and then just kind of take the whole thing out. I'd like to make a little bit of a park space of this. So going to go ahead and get our smoothing tool. That's not a word, but it's a word now, our smoothing tool, and we're going to smooth this out a little bit and kind of create an area where we can kind of repurpose the dirty land from the industry and make it into a little bit of a park space instead. So, and then I want to round off kind of this little suburb here, or it's not really a suburb, but this residential area. I want to close this off. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag this road here at a nice, hopefully 45-degree angle. Is it going to work with me? There we go. Got it. Just so that we don't have those weird corner edges going on. So I think that will make it a little bit nicer, kind of round this area out how I kind of want it to be. And then for now, with these icons for the not enough customers, I think we're just going to stick with the plan for the moment of replacing them with office zoning. I think that's kind of the method we're going to go with for now. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear up some of these buildings really fast. And with that cleared up a little bit for the time being, it's not going to go away completely. But what we can focus on now is trying to make the citizens that we already have here happier and kind of grow up those buildings. So if we look at our happiness, we can see all of the things that are causing us to negative happiness. So some of that is just that our services are not functioning as well as they should be. So we're actually just going to go through and bump all of these back up to 100%. It'll just be easier at this point to just not kind of micromanage the budget in that way, because we could just keep going back through and like incrementally increasing them. But I think it'll just be easier if we just across the board return them to 100%. And so that'll clear up some of those issues with people not being happy that their services aren't functioning properly. So, and then to see kind of like what we can do next, we can actually just check out kind of where we are at with our buildings. And so the medical clinic is doing well, operating at 111%. The university is doing well as well. So if we go into, we can check out our education. And so we've got some college students already, so that's improving. And then our building levels, we've got quite a few level 3. We even have some level 4 industries, so that's good news. Level 2 offices. So things are definitely moving in the right direction, which is exactly what we want. Because again, these higher level buildings have better benefits. And then so back into company profitability, those things are increasing as well. Industry is up at 45%. Office has strangely gone down, but I think that situation will sort of resolve itself as people work their way through the college. Again, it does take quite a long time for your students to actually go through school and graduate. So it's kind of just a waiting game for some of these problems. Then to see what we can address next, we go back into happiness and we see we've got some poverty issues as well and taxes. So we can kind of adjust a little bit of that as well and lower some of the taxes on our undereducated folks in the city. Ideally, we want the well-educated and highly educated people paying more since they'll be the wealthier citizens anyway and will have obviously more disposable income to pay in taxes. And we will actually just bump up office as well. I forgot when it unlocked to even look at it, but we'll bump that up to 16% kind of right along with all of the other stuff. Commercial and industrial will keep the same. And then I think it's probably time to get back into addressing the electricity situation. And I think I know which I would like. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over here and grab, I think, do I need both of these tiles? Or I think we'll just this one for now. We have them, but I think we only need to use this one for now. So we'll stick with that. And then I want to flatten this area out because we're going to need a lot of space for this building. It's pretty big. The coal power plant is pretty large, and I want a nice flat area for it to be on. So I think this will do. And then we'll go into our development points, our development tree, and grab first the gas power plant because we need it to unlock the coal power plant. So, and we still have at least one development point left, which is good. And then I think we're just going to place it kind of in here. And I want the power lines at the back of the building so that we can easily connect it up to our outside connection running right along the back there. So, and then I kind of want to like enclose this building. So we're going to drag this road right along the front of the building and then connect it in to our other industrial area over here. So I think that will do nicely. And then I'm thinking, well, let's hook up the power line first so we can start exporting that. And then I think let's take a look and watch these numbers flip here. So we can take a look at our exports, and we should hopefully see that jump pretty quickly. There we go. Okay. So it looks like we are now exporting more and more, and now we are in a surplus for our electricity production. We are now selling more than we're spending. And that has dipped into our deficit a little bit, but one of the problems, of course, still with this building is that if we take a look at the employees, it's still missing, well-educated people. So it's not going to operate at its highest efficiency until we fill those well-educated workplaces, which again is just going to take a little bit of time. Just for the people to go through the college and graduate, as I mentioned, I think I've mentioned that probably a couple times. I forget. But yeah, so I think that will certainly help get us along the way to making money now. And then we're just going to kind of close in this building, wrap this road right along the edges of it. And then to round the area out, we're going to grab another tile here really quickly and just make a little bit more of an industrial zone from on the other side here, and kind of like connect everything up and give this space a little bit of like, I don't know, sort of like a maintenance and admin kind of area. So I'll just go ahead and smooth out a little bit of this area. I do want a mostly flat space for this, because I'm going to be putting, again, some more industry in here. So I'll grab our 2-lane road, and then I think from this point I'll just make a little junction here, and we'll keep with our little 12 by 176 frames. I think we're just going to keep sticking with that. That does not look even. No, yeah, it's not. Okay. So we'll draw that in again at our 90-degree angle. No broken zones. Perfect. And then just kind of fill in this area with a little bit of, I think we'll throw in a little bit of a parking space here for kind of like the workers. I mean, it comes with its own parking, but just for immersion purposes, we'll throw a little bit more in. And then again, fill out this area with some of our industrial buildings. And then I think I'll also throw a little bit of office in. Again, sort of like an admin kind of center kind of vibe. But it does not look like it's going to grow in right now because we don't have any office demand. But it will come. It will come eventually. And then I think I'm just going to add a little bit more onto this as well. So go out by 112. And it looks like I'm going to have to adjust this space here first really quickly. All right, and that will sort of round out our little industrial area here. And then there's just one really big thing that we need to address next that will help us grow our city. So if we take a look down here at our city happiness, we can see that we have a problem with the internet. And so providing internet will make for our companies to be more efficient because they'll be able to use the internet to sell to their customers and communicate and all of those things, just like in real life. So it'll be really beneficial for them, and that'll help them, again, level up, which gives us those bonus of them producing less waste, and they'll pay more taxes, etc. So we want these to kind of place in an area that covers as much of the city as possible without the two areas kind of overlapping. So I'm thinking somewhere right along this bridge is probably our best bet, as it covers like a really good area of both the residences as well as the industry. So we'll throw a little holding road out here, just kind of on the side, and then we'll go ahead and place one of our radio masts right about there. And so we can see the whole area of effect that it does, and then we'll kind of want to go to the opposite side and try to get an area that makes our area wider without overlapping the area too much. Because if you move it around, you can kind of see exactly where the area of effect starts to fade. And so I think somewhere right about here will get us the most effective amount of coverage without like too much overlap. So we'll draw out another little holding road here for our second radio mast, and then go ahead and just place it. And I think that will take care of the issue. Yeah, so that's no longer a problem. They're not upset about a lack of internet now. Though I'm still having this issue here with the high resource cost, and it needs rock, and we're literally producing it right next to it. So I really don't see why it should be having that issue right now. I mean, we couldn't really be producing this any closer. So it's not like it's getting it from an outside source and having to like import it for large amounts of money. I'm just going to go ahead and drag out this area a little bit more, assuming I can find and create the right node that I need to get it here. There we go. So yeah, if you have any insights about that problem of the not enough or the too high resource price, please leave anything that you know about it in the comments below, because I really don't understand why we should be having that issue with that particular building and that particular resource. Again, when we are producing it so physically close to it, it shouldn't be costing them much money to get it. So again, if you've got any insights about that, I would love to hear them. Thank you. And then probably the last thing I'm going to do for this episode is fill in this area with all that residential I said I wanted to get in here. I think I filled out all the areas that I want to with low density. So then we're going to hop in to this area here kind of in the middle and start putting some medium density in. And I'm just going to replace some of these suffering buildings. Oh, well, that one just stopped suffering, so we'll keep that where it was, I guess. But for the ones that are suffering, we are just going to replace them with a little bit of medium density. And hopefully the new buildings that spawn in won't have that problem, since we are going to be building this area up with some customers. And then I'll add in just a touch of mixed-use residential, which we did unlock at the last milestone. And presumably, hopefully, those won't have that issue as well, since there will literally be customers in the building. So hopefully we can address this problem once and for all and get rid of those icons. And then I'll just pop in a little bit of low rent housing, which is high density. So keep that in mind, that the low rent housing is one of the high density options. So it will have a lot of people in them. So that's why I'm just gonna put a little bit in there. But for now, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this area in, and I'll catch you when it's finished. And while doing that, we hit the milestone 6 of Boomtown, so we're just moving right along. And then I think if we check out our population, yes, unemployment is down to 0.7%. So that is excellent news, because that means we can kind of go crazy a little bit with our zoning now, which I'm not going to go too crazy. I do want to still move a little bit slowly, but hopefully I can increase the population enough to start turning a profit. It's not going to be in this episode, though. We're done for this episode. This is the very last thing that I really wanted to do. But just like kind of checking through the things that we talked about at the beginning, our levels are increasing just as we wanted them to. Our wealth is doing okay. We'll probably try to work on that in the next couple episodes. Probably want to get a welfare office here pretty soon, to sort of help with this issue. We've got some, the unemployment rate again is going in the right direction. So I think that is where we will call this episode. I'm going to go through, and this episode has gotten kind of long, so I think I'm going to do it off camera, but I will go through and find and name some citizens in our city after after the folks who have joined the Discord so far. So again, I have set up a Discord community for us all, and the first, I'm going to say 50 people that join will get both a citizen in the city named after them and a building in the city named for them as well. But yeah, I will leave the link to the Discord down below. We've got quite a nice group of people going on in there now, and I would just love to see the community grow. It's a really cool spot for all of us to kind of come together and chit-chat about the game and about kind of anything else that tickles our fancy, I guess. So, again, please go ahead down there and join to immortalize yourself in the city forever with a citizen and a building named for you for the first 50 people that join the Discord, very aptly called the Pickle Jar. So, there is that. But with that, that will be the end of this episode. I want to thank you all so much for watching and for commenting and subscribing to the channel. The channel's now at 500 subscribers, which is just absolutely insane to me. I really cannot express my gratitude enough for that. That just kind of blows my mind. So thank you guys so much. Continue leaving your thoughts and suggestions and feedback in the comments below. It's super helpful, and I really enjoy hearing from all of you. So yeah, that will do it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed the episode. I know that it was like a little bit all over the place, but in Cities Skylines 2, there's just so many moving parts that all kind of work together. So focusing on one thing at a time sometimes is just not the right way to go about it. You kind of gotta put these things all together and mesh it all into one. So I know it was a little all over the place, but I hope it made sense, and I hope you got something out of it. If there's one big takeaway that I would like you to leave with, it's that focusing on efficiency and happiness and getting your buildings to level up is really crucial to the success of your city. So, and it takes a couple moving parts to get that to happen, but it is well worth the effort once you do so. But yeah, so if you did like the episode, if you did enjoy it, please feel free to leave a like below. If you've enjoyed the content so far and want to see more of the city grow, also feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. But otherwise, that is all of it. I really am so appreciative of everybody watching and commenting and just enjoying the content. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the cinematics on your way out, and I'll see you next time.